Agenda West Side Bill.
Welcome to the episode of Into the West Comics. My name is Frank. Milkshake is here.
Hey, I'm back. Glad to be back.
Hey, buddy. You've been away for a minute.
I have.
Or
New
two.
job, running a marathon. Craziness.
Lots of things.
Lots of things.
Girlfriend. He's been
That too.
girlfriending. The hot dog, corn dog Paul is here.
I've been
He thought we
girlfriending.
were going to let him leave that out.
He tried to
What did
skip
it,
over
baby?
that. We got him.
Yeah.
Love.
Hot dog, corn dog
Wow.
Paul's here. Uncle nephew
just said
Shane is here. A smile on his face. Shane was actually here before 6 o'clock.
Hey.
Tighten up.
There it is.
Tighten up and good morning, everybody.
And please welcome our special guest all the way from the great Northwest. You may know him from kicking people in the face and all those things. He's had a pretty storied career in MMA, and recently he forayed into the world of comics and zombies. Please welcome father, teacher, coach, creator, and Henry Rollins fan, Nate the Rock Quarry.
Hey.
Hey,
Hey, man, thanks for taking some time to hang out with us tonight. We really do appreciate it.
my pleasure. I'm in downtown Salem, Oregon, in a sketchy area, so if I look distracted, I just got my head on a swivel here, just in case.
Surveying your
Yes.
surroundings just in
We'll
case.
let you know if anybody shows up behind you.
We'll watch. Yeah, we'll watch for what's going up behind you.
Thank you.
Gotcha.
So, Nate, how did the idea for this story to come together for when you started? Because I think you were telling me when we first met at the Rose City Comic Con, you were telling me that this is like a decade in building this story and this book coming together. How did this all come together for you?
Well, I'm what you call a nerd. I'm nerd adjacent. I have nerdish qualities. As a young child, I was slammed into many a locker. I had big, thick glasses, things like that. So I was born to the world of comic books, is what I'm trying to say. My 401k is X-Men #1 type of thing. So at the end of practice, as I'm training back in my days when I was fighting in MMA, we would sit around and we would all just be nerding out about whatever Star Wars thing had just come out or Marvel Comics or something like that. And I started thinking about what it would like to be for someone like myself, an MMA fighter, to be in that world. Who could I take out? So obviously it's going to be tough for me to take out a Daredevil, a Hulk, a Spider-Man, something like that. Then I start thinking about the horror world, a Dracula, a vampire, werewolf. Those things are going to be hard. But I started thinking about what it would be like to face a zombie. And I thought, I think this is something someone like me could face. In the real world of combat, if you're facing somebody with a knife, that's your number one concern. You can get punched, kicked, whatever the case may be. But if he touches you with a knife, that is a game changer. That's what it's like fighting a zombie. They have the bite. No matter what else happens, you cannot let yourself get bitten. So I started playing with the idea of what it would be like to fight a zombie. So at some point during this process, I started thinking up these scenarios, these stories, and I make an appearance on G4 Attack of the Show, a station and a show that no longer exists. But back in the day, it was amazing. Just pop culture fanatics. It was incredible. And they asked me at the end of my piece what I was working on next, meaning what was my next fight. But instead I said, well, right now I'm working on Zombie Cage Fighter, and the rules are pretty simple. For humans, no biting. For zombies, mostly biting. And the producer comes up to me at the end of the show and he just goes, man, I love that idea. I want to see everything you've got. Make me a pitch. So I shook his hand. I looked him in the eye and I said, all right, let me go home. I'll put together everything and then I'll come back down and make a pitch to you, because I had nothing, just kind of an idea. So I went home, sat at my big box computer and just started typing out these ideas that I had. And I had the beginning figured, I had the ending figured. I just needed to fill out the middle. And so I finished what I'd done. And my computer was so old that the screen would freeze on occasion. And I'd have to go back, restart my computer, rewrite everything I'd just done, go through it all over again. So I take my story out and I show it to some people that are smarter than I am, that are in the writing world. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. And they give me some notes on it, and I go back and write some more. I did a photo shoot with me dressed up as a zombie and a zombie ring card girl, that kind of thing, and went back down and made a pitch to G4, and they were just like, this is awesome. I love this idea. And that kind of gave me the confidence that other people thought that this might be a kind of a cool story too, to keep moving forward with it. So now in 2012, I had a show in New York called MMA Uncensored Live. And I got offered to launch the Zombie Cage Fighter comic book at San Diego Comic-Con at the Spike TV booth. Now, the first time I went to San Diego Comic-Con was probably about 25 years ago, when you could still walk up, buy a ticket, and just walk right into the floor. It was phenomenal. Now you have to buy your ticket a year in advance. It's a whole show. So this was just a dream come true. So I put together the first issue, had an amazing artist come together, Blair Butler, who worked on G4 as well, helped me write out the script for it, because it's very different writing a short story than it is writing an actual comic book. But I did this issue 0 of Zombie Cage Fighter just to see if anyone else thought the story was cool. And what I heard from everybody was, okay, well, where's the rest of the story? So it took another 10 years for me to bring it all together. And that was just a whole education into the world of creating a comic book, finding the right artist, the right penciler, inker, letterer, the cover artist, all that stuff. Finally came together with this phenomenal artist, Travis Kotsubu, who really understood the vision. His artwork was incredible, very professional, was able to do things, hit deadlines, all that kind of thing. And we ended up with the graphic novel of Zombie Cage Fighter.
Oh, wow.
And it's been just amazing to see it all come to reality. And even the cover, this is by Alex Horley. This is an actual painting that I have in my house that Alex Horley did for me, myself fighting a zombie. And I think the best compliments I get from this is I've had numerous people, my own agent included, who said, I really didn't want to read this because a zombie MMA story, are you kidding me? But this is actually really good. I enjoyed this story. It has heart. And if I can win over skeptics like my own friends and people that I pay, then that's a good thing. So it's been an amazing adventure so far to bring this first story arc of Zombie Cage Fighter to life. And yeah, I just love telling people about it and love seeing people read my story and enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. Frank, when he met with you up in the Rose City Comic Con, is that
Yeah,
what it was?
Portland. Yeah.
And he told us about Zombie Cage Fighter and that you had created it. That was really exciting for me in particular. I grew up in combat sports, wrestling, wrestled in college, train Echo Tours. Now I had the pleasure of meeting a gentleman by the name of Robert Follis, who was an incredible man. And basically, leading it, I just want to kind of see how the supportive community that is combat sports and kickboxing and wrestling, how that can kind of give you the confidence to go into a four-way with making a comic book when you have no real experience in that, and kind of how MMA can give you the confidence to do whatever in life, because they say once you've wrestled or once you've done MMA, everything else in life is easy. So just wanted you to talk a little bit about that and kind of how they went hand in hand.
Very, very true. And I was actually giving this speech to my oldest daughter just a couple nights ago, and I'm sure she's probably heard it dozens of times. But with everything that I do now, I kind of put it into that scope of, well, what's the worst that's going to happen? I'm going to write this story, and nobody's going to enjoy it. Okay, I can handle that.
Right.
Do I? Well, then I'm really writing it for myself, and if other people seem to enjoy it, then that's a great thing too. What I say over and over again is, I'm just not afraid to fail. When I started training in MMA, some of my early main training partners were Randy Couture, who's a 5 or 6 time UFC champion, world champion, Greco-Roman wrestler, Dan Henderson, 2-time Olympic wrestler, Pride light heavyweight middleweight champion, Matt Lindland, silver medalist, Olympic wrestler. I was 24 and I saw the UFC on TV and said, I'm going to go do that. I had no wrestling as a kid. I was raised in a doomsday cult where they would not allow you to do any sports, any participation in anything like that. So when I decided I was going to undergo this journey, it was something completely brand new to me. I remember the first time I ran a mile on a treadmill. It took me about 20 minutes because I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea how to even run on a treadmill. I'm just sprinting as much as I can. I'm sorry, I lost the lights here.
You're good. It was very thematic.
But what it really came down to was, I'm just not afraid to look stupid. I'm not afraid to fail. I've been knocked out in front of millions and millions of people. It's been seen tens of millions of times. And every once in a while, somebody will think that they're going to take a shot at me or a dig on me where they make fun of me getting knocked out. And my response is always the same. It's like, man, I fought for the world title in the UFC. Yeah, I got brutally knocked out. That was a highlight for Rich Franklin for the rest of his life, for sure. That poster's on my wall. I see it every single day. That is one of the proudest moments of my life, that I was able to be the main event at the MGM Grand headlining a UFC pay-per-view. Somebody that came from my background, man, I just could not have dreamed any bigger. So something like this, where it's taking my shot at something new, what's the worst case scenario? I'm going to fail miserably. Odds are pretty high I'm not going to end up going to the hospital if the comic book does really bad. I'm going to be okay.
Probably not.
And that's my running joke every time I have to do a speaking engagement. Usually when I'm in front of this many people, I'm getting punched in the face. So this is a nice change of pace. It's really just overcoming that fear of failure. And we all have it. And that's just kind of the way our world is structured around us. We have big red pens on all of those school papers. You failed, a big F. But when you do what you're supposed to have done, well, just go ahead and live your life, be a good robot. We need to really celebrate our successes more than worrying about the failures. Put those in the past and move on to something new and great. And again, what's the worst case that's going to happen? You're going to fail. I would rather fail 1,000 times than wonder on my deathbed, what if? What if I would have taken that title shot? Oh, I had a good career without it, but man, what if I had that one day to walk under those lights into that cage in front of all those people? Well, now I know. and I'm okay with that outcome. And it's life changing.
Now, I noticed that there's like family shots in the comic. Is everything in the comic based on your home life? I know you got a daughter. Is the little girl in the comic based on your own daughter?
Yes. So when I originally wrote this, I had one daughter. I had her when I was 27. I'm now 51, and I have two more daughters and a son. My
Nice,
son
congrats.
will be 4 in December. My daughter's
Right.
turning 2 next week, and my other daughter just turned 8 months.
Nice.
So it's been, oh my God. You want to talk about not being afraid to start over? It's been amazing. But yes, the little girl in the story is my daughter Sierra, and so much of that is really just it's based on our lives, to where
There you
There
go.
we go.
Hey.
Hey.
There he is.
I just might have to do that every few minutes. So there's a scene that I really love, and I think the artist really pulled it out well, where my character, who I always refer to as Rock, goes to his daughter's school to meet the local bullies that are giving her a hard time. So when my daughter was in 3rd grade, she was proud of her father. I was still fighting, and she was telling her friends about it, and they didn't believe her. So I gave her a trading card to take with her to school, and that just made things worse.
Oh man.
So I said, why don't I just go down there and pay a visit?
Mm.
So I went down to her school, and I saw her, and I said, so where are these bullies that have been bothering you? And she went over and grabbed one, and he immediately took off running out on the playground, looked at me, looked at the boy, waved him over, came over to talk to me. So now, yeah, I'm talking to this 9-year-old child. And I said, do you know who I am? And he nodded yes. And I said, good. So this is my daughter, and I love her very much. And I would like to know that moving forward, instead of picking on her, you're going to be looking out for her. Can we make that agreement? And he nodded his head yes. And I shook his hand, and I said, I'm glad we could have this conversation.
That's
And
so
boom,
cool.
he was
Right.
off like a shot. And I got down on my knee, and I hugged my daughter, and I said, I fight so you don't have to.
Mm.
And that is one of the, I think, most heartfelt scenes in the book that I put in there was, yeah, I am willing to go to school and intimidate a 9-year-old child to make sure that he knows not to mess with my daughter.
But it's a beautiful, like, that's the thing that probably people are really gravitating towards the book because of how personal it is to you. It's really a personal thing and just not some kind of weird story that has zombies in it. And
Yeah.
people fighting, zombies.
You're beating up zombies for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a that's got to be the most rewarding part of making this book, right?
It really is. And what I always tell people is, so obviously the hook is the zombies, it's the MMA, just like the hook in Rocky was boxing.
Mm.
But Rocky wasn't about boxing. It was about this down and out loser who finally had a shot to prove to himself that he wasn't worthless. And he didn't even win the title. He went the distance with the champ. That's what the story was about. He could fight, he could matter, he could have value. And in Zombie Cage Fighter, you take away the MMA, you take away the zombies, it's a father fighting for his little girl's future. And can all relate to. And I just made an appearance at a toy store last weekend for a free comic book day. And every time I sell a graphic novel, I say the same thing to every person. Please, the next time I see you, let me know what you thought of the story. So a guy, he goes, hey, I just saw you at the Cherry City Comic-Con last summer. I read your book. Dude, it changed my life. It made me, I was having a really hard time. I was in bad health. It really made me look at my life and want to change the way I'm doing things. And it just helped me realize that, sometimes life is pretty shitty and you just have to bite down harder on your mouthpiece. You got to keep on going and moving forward, and the undead will keep coming at you. But that's and he gave it to his daughter, who is, I think, 8 years old. She read it 4 times.
Wow.
Just love the story, man. When's the next one coming out?
That's
That's awesome.
beautiful.
Very cool.
It really was the best thing to hear, because that is my story.
Hmm.
I was raised to be just in this doomsday cult until I died, doing work that was not rewarding, waiting for the end to come. And at some point I said, I'm not going to live that way. And I saw my father die at 62. We got word that he had this disease. He was slowly dying. His red blood cells were dying off. So he was slowly suffocating as his red blood cells died off. And I spent the last 3 weeks of his life with him. And I went with him to pick up his last paycheck. He was working as a finished carpenter for another business, wasn't even in business for himself, couldn't afford to live in the house that he built with his own 2 hands. Picked up that last paycheck and he was dead 3 weeks later. Well, as we were getting close to his end, I had to tell my mother, I've contracted to take a fight on the East Coast. And I feel like I've done everything that I could here. I've helped prepare you for his passing as much as I possibly could. I have to go to work. And so I said goodbye to my father and I flew out to Richmond, Virginia. And I made weight that Friday, and that was a whole nightmare in itself. It was the middle of winter. They wouldn't turn the heat up. It took me 3 hours to cut 8 pounds, something like that. It was ridiculous. Yeah. And as I'm rehydrating, I get the call that my father had just passed away. And I took all of that emotion that had been building up from those previous weeks and months, and I took it into the ring with me that night. And as usual, I was fighting somebody with, I think, 3 times as many fights as I had, 3-4 inches taller than me. And I snapped his arm in the first round. I just had so much emotion all built up, and I'm an emotional fighter. I fight best when I'm scared, when I'm angry. And I got a hold of his arm and I just made his elbow point the wrong way. And as I ran around the cage, just releasing all of this emotion, the short guy came up to the ring and he says, my name's Joe Silva. I'm the matchmaker for the UFC. We've got this thing that we're thinking about doing, the Ultimate Fighter. I've got your name on the list now. And so when they went for casting for that, they called me. They, after seeing my performance, and had me apply for the show and go through all that. But looking back on that over and over again, there was just these single solitary days where I'm making decisions to go right or left. What am I going to do that really changed the course of my life, my family's life? Even when Randy was out there, Randy Couture was out there cornering me for this fight. And when I found out that my father had died and I told him, he said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, if I wasn't going to fight, I should have stayed home. I'm a fighter. I came here to fight. That's my job. Let's do it. And again, I used that opportunity to then build everything up. And I had many days like that where it seemed like just everything was riding on this performance. When I fought for the title against Rich Franklin and got just brutally knocked out, 3 months after that, a few months after that, I couldn't pick up my little girl. My lower back had completely collapsed. I was having bone-on-bone grinding in my lumbar spine. My daughter, I think, was 5 at the time. I went from being prepared to fight for 25 minutes to not being able to pick up a little girl. And I ended up getting this spinal fusion surgery. And everyone said, if you get back surgery, your career is over. But I knew if I did nothing, my career was over anyways. My whole life was over. So I ended up getting this surgery. And then 15 months later, I'm back fighting in the UFC in a rematch against Pete Sell, who was younger than me, stronger than me, faster than me. He was angry that I beat him on a controversial the last time that we had fought, and he beat the hell out of me for 2 rounds. And finally, in the 3rd round, I just looked across the ring and I said, man, if I don't beat you now, this has been all for nothing. This is the day that is the most important day in my family's life. And I just hit him with everything that I had, and it changed everything. I won the fight. I secured a big sponsorship with the company that did my back surgery and made everything possible.
That's
the best part of that is
I remember watching that when I was a kid, and the back surgery you got is the same back surgery that Tito Ortiz ended up getting, right?
Yeah, so Tito called me when he was talking about getting a back surgery, and he was going to get this big open procedure where they're moving his guts around and cutting through his abdominals. And I said, Tito, man, I don't know what the answer is for you. I'm not a surgeon. Maybe this is the way to go. But this is the procedure that I had done, minimally invasive, coming in from the side, and I recovered, and the proof is on video. You can see it. I had this. I came back and I fought in the UFC, and I won after getting a spinal fusion. And then that's what he ended up getting too, the same procedure that I had, and then he returned and fought as well.
Boy, that must be a doctor. They're not going to perform that surgery. It's something else.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, it's these surgeons, when they're doing things like this, it really is. And I actually, working with the company for so long, they had me perform my own surgery on 2 cadavers. And being construction, I framed houses. It was pretty simple. You make a cut, you go through the muscle tissue, you hammer in the spacer, good to go.
Nobody turned into a zombie, those cadavers?
No zombies?
No zombie.
Not this time.
Oh, not this time?
Not this time.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, Nate, that story was, your story is pretty incredible. Just going back to your comic book, there's so much content of just zombie stuff going on right now. Last of Us, Walking Dead, just different comic books. Was that content kind of starting your world building for your book at all? Anything like that?
I didn't know Last of Us until I saw it on HBO, and my God, what a phenomenal show!
Yeah, it's a great
love
show.
that show. I have been a fan of The Walking Dead. I haven't watched this show in years, but I was reading the comic, not from the beginning, but close to the beginning.
Okay.
But I didn't take a lot of references from that. The book that I read before I wrote Zombie Cage Fighter was The Road.
Oh, that's a great book, movie.
The book was just phenomenal. Just a great telling of it, and that dark world, which you see this father that once again, everything in the world has fallen apart. The one last thing he has to do is take care of his son, and he's willing to do anything to make that happen. And that just resonated so much with me as I was writing Zombie Cage Fighter, that over and over again, the things that we do as parents, we know, I got to go to work today. I have to do things. I have to provide for my family. And as a fighter, there was times where I was bringing the mortgage payment with me, knowing that if I lose this fight, we lose the house. My comeback fight against Pete Bell, it was the same way. I was beyond broke. My credit card was maxed out, and I was fighting for just a fraction of the money that it would take to pay off my credit card. But not only did I win my show money, I won the win bonus, then fight of the night bonus, and knockout of the night bonus, and just kind of went from there. And yeah, it's been, I keep saying it's been an amazing journey. And when I look back at it, I don't know how we made it through.
Yeah, Nate, The Road is incredible.
Yeah.
That's just an incredible story. Like, truly.
Yeah.
Frank, have you ever seen The Road?
That's the movie. Yeah.
The movie?
It's good.
I've seen the
Have you ever
movie,
read the book?
I haven't read the book. I've seen the movie.
The movie is incredible as well.
Yep.
Viggo Mortensen.
Viggo.
That's a top notch thing to draw from, because it is truly emotional.
I mean,
McCarthy is a phenomenal writer.
Yeah.
He did No Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
Incredible movie, and the book is same thing, just phenomenal.
Yeah, that's my favorite movie of all time. No Country for Old Men.
Wow.
You said
Wow.
really?
Yeah.
Have you read the book then?
I have. They're very similar. Like, it's crazy how similar they are.
The speaking parts by the older sheriff guy in the book, they're much longer, and it's like you're sitting down with this grandfather who's just sharing these phenomenal stories with you.
The grizzled old sheriff.
Those two are the book and the movie for No Country for Old Men are really good, and I especially love in the movie. You don't even notice while watching it. There's no score. There's no music. In the whole movie. There's no music in the whole movie.
Dead silent.
But anyways, I'm gonna throw to Frank, and I think we're gonna get you to your show.
I know.
Yeah.
Don't miss Rollins. Do not
we
miss
don't
Rollins, please.
I mean, if we're handicapping the situation, say that, everything hits the fan and we're in an actual zombie apocalypse, we're getting you out of here on this. How do you think you would fare in a zombie apocalypse? Would it be you and 2 or 3 guys from your school and just smashing people in the head, or how do you think that would go?
Oh boy. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of variables there, but the big thing is getting the loved ones, getting them out of the major population areas, getting out someplace a little bit safer where you can see the attacks at least coming. Kind of depends on what the zombie vibe is as well. and I do have a lot of friends who are badasses or badass adjacent. That they would be good
Badass
people to
adjacent.
have in a foxhole with you.
Frank,
Yeah.
Nate would destroy every zombie that he would come across. Let's be
I know
honest.
that. I just wanted to hear it from his mouth.
I mean, my goodness. What are we talking about here?
My apologies. I'm sorry.
I got your back, Nate.
Listen,
You
Nate,
can
I
save
just
me all the time.
I
if you
want,
like.
Nate, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to hang out with us. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
We don't want to keep you from your show. We want you. Hopefully, Henry Rollins is great. I hope he plays all the songs that Shane listed.
Yes. I love Rollins. I love Rollins Band. I love Black Flag back in the day. I mean, back in the day, even right now. Please go and then come back and tell us how it was.
You got it. Anytime you guys want me back on, just you got my number
100%.
now. You got my contact information.
Thank you so
It's
much.
been awesome. Thank you for understanding. Sorry that I'm in a van down by the river. Essentially,
It's all good.
Listen, you look cooler than any one of us could look. That's actually a pretty good look. This light. That's
not saying much.
You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? I know.
sure.
We might be onto something with car interviews. There it is.
Yeah.
I like that shirt, please.
Yes, sir.
Could you send us
Oh.
just your actual
You got
shirt? I want.
Oh, here you go again.
Oh, gosh.
He does
But-
that to everyone we have on the show.
But Nate, again, thank you and enjoy the show. And we will talk to you soon. Have a great night. Have fun tonight.
Yeah,
Thank
appreciate
you,
it.
Nate.
man.
Thank
That was
you.
awesome.
Thank you,
Do it
Nate.
again,
Appreciate
and anytime we'll do this when I'm sitting at home and can take our time.
Yes, sir.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Sounds like a
All
plan,
All
brother.
right.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
sir.
much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have fun.
Hey, thank
That was good
That's
stuff.
What a guy.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
a great guy.
Good guy.
How do we always
story.
get the
Good
coolest
story.
people on the show?
That was, I mean,
Crazy story.
That was a great.
good
That was a
timing.
great story.
Yeah.
Like every story he told was really
Yeah,
heartfelt.
it's really cool
Amazing.
having him on the show because, you could probably tell when I was talking about it. It's what I grew up watching him
Yeah.
fight, and the fact that he is a comic book creator,
It's kind of cool for you.
and it's kind of cool to have that identification. Which the people who are, they are in both of the realms that I myself grew up being attached to. So it was really cool to have him on.
I thought you were going to say zombies. And
yeah,
Well, yeah.
Zombies.
But it's really cool to have him on and to be able to have him on again in the future.
Yeah.
Zombie world.
Yeah.
And
Super
I mean,
nice guy.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
He was a really cool guy.
great.
I was telling Shane, earlier in the week, I talked to him like all 3 days of the con. I just made a point to stop by his booth and to, chat with him a little bit. Actually, he mentioned the 8-month-old. I saw the 8-month-old selling T-shirts.
Nice.
Baby wasn't selling T-shirts,
She was
but baby was
selling
there.
T-shirts,
Got to chit chat with him a little bit, and I bought a shirt and one of the trades of the collected edition of the Zombie Cage Fighter, the novel.
Taking that home with me. By the way.
And
I'm
no
taking that home
problem.
with me.
And he gave the variant a T-shirt.
Nice.
He's like, "Oh, you get a shirt. You bought a shirt. Give Jonathan a shirt."
Nice.
So
Oh my gosh.
he gave a shirt.
So Jonathan has one of those shirts.
Jonathan has a shirt. I've got a shirt too. I bought one though.
Oh,
You bought
Yeah,
one.
well, mine's too big for you. Do your sleep shirt.
Sleep shirt.
Or for Paul and Austin, it'd be like a
dress.
it'd be like a nightgown.
Austin and I will wear it together. We'll do like a
It'd be a
3
moo.
stitches.
It'd be a moo on Austin.
A moo.
But yeah, super cool guy. Guys, we are kind of in a perfect storm as far as what's going on streaming wise for tonight. We are in the
So
second
much.
to
A
last
lot.
episode of Loki. We have the finale of Gen V,
Yeah.
as well as the premiere of the second season of Invincible.
Yeah.
Of the three, what are you most excited about?
Well, right now Loki and Gen V, because it's more like new and like it's going on. It's almost the end. But Invincible, I love Invincible, so I'm excited for that. It's this crazy time of TV. Me and Paul were talking before. It's like there's so much content
So
that
much stuff
we have to
There's a lot.
watch.
You,
Yeah.
you've seen all Gen V?
So far, yeah, just the last episode.
I haven't seen.
You haven't watched
seen
any of it? Have you
I've
watched?
seen the first 3 episodes.
It's good.
I need to
It's-
watch.
it's
the
I
rest.
watched the first episode.
It's.
Yeah,
I
liked
think
it.
it's like Paul. I think it's better than the boys. It's
I think
more,
it is better
yeah.
than the boys.
Really?
Because
The
Is that
characters.
because
The
you're,
characters.
you're young?
but you're not
a little more
no, it's
grounded,
because
or
you're
Yeah.
not-
because they're in college.
Here's
Yeah.
I think as far as like enjoyment level, I get the same
Yeah.
enjoyment out of both. But I am attached. I'm like prerequisited to like the characters in the boys. I know who Homelander is. I know who Black Noir is.
Yeah, these are all new
I have
characters.
these are characters I have no inkling or
Yeah.
understanding of, and I am just as attached to them.
Okay, so because there is no comic that highlights these characters. That makes the show better for you. That there is no
there's nothing you can
material
watch.
to go
So
into.
there is source material. These characters have not been introduced. This is loosely based on an arc that took place in The Boys, but these characters are not. It's not direct correlation.
Because I don't have that predisposition to be enjoy Homelander and Black Noir, and the fact that I am enjoying it as much says a lot about the show.
Okay.
But
I'm gonna.
It's good though.
My daughter is 22 years old.
Yeah,
she will love the main character.
Hello, Grace. And she's that's the thing. Yeah, she has been watching it.
Yeah.
So she is totally invested. She told me, I know you're an old man.
she say it like
Who
that.
likes to try to steal our guests'
I know you're
old.
You're
like to
old
steal
and feeble.
shirts.
And you like to steal shirts.
Old and feeble.
But she goes, feeble. But she goes, if you start watching it and you continue to watch it, you'll get into it more. I go, I'm not so sure. He goes, just give it a chance. Yada, yada, yada. So now Paul has said, give it a chance. Milkshake
and it's
has
renewed
said,
for a
give it
second
chance.
season as well already.
Yeah.
So it's been doing well.
Yep.
Then. Okay.
All
Yeah,
right. What about you?
I think that the thing I'm most excited for is probably Invincible. I love that comic. I love the first season.
Yeah.
I like Loki. But I don't know, something. I think because the rest of the MCU stuff has been so meh. I'm not as excited about the finishing of this show as I have been. Gen V, I'm really enjoying. I'm kind of I'm 2 episodes behind on.
Okay.
But there's Marcus.
Marcus.
And this is the second time he came in right at the end of the show.
Sure.
And but Invincible is just very cool.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
but
excited.
Invincible is great.
Yeah.
Has it started?
No, it's starting
it's
tonight.
No, it starts tonight.
Oh, okay, it starts tonight.
Yeah.
Oh.
You mentioned
She said you're
the
not that
Marvels, Paul. We call it the Marvels. Next,
That was a good one. That was a
next
good one.
Thursday, we won't be 40 of our
You're not
closest
that
friends.
old.
There
That's
it
my
is.
sweetie.
You're not
That's my
that
sweetie, Grace.
old.
Thank you, Grace. I love
Grace,
you.
you're so sweet.
So sweet.
She said I did not say it like that.
What a girl. What a daughter. Next week, we will be on at a special time because of we finally gave in to the TVA. After the finale of Loki, we will be on live at 7 p.m. Pacific to do a brief recap and review of the finale of Loki season 2, and then we'll be on our way with about 15 of our closest friends to Art House Theater to have the greatest popcorn in the world. Marcus, we'll be over there watching the movie together, and then we will be back after the Marvels to do a recap review of the Marvels or the Marvels, and we'll see how it goes. It's only an hour 45,
Yay.
Marcus. I have high hopes. Well, I have hopes. How are you? To check in with you. What are you excited for tonight? There's so much stuff.
What am I excited for?
As far as the shows that be coming
Invincible,
out.
Gen V.
Loki's episode 5.
Come on, baby.
Honestly, let's see. Invincible is number one because that is a great comic. I want them to keep doing it until they finish the complete thing. That's how awesome it would be and how awesome that material is from a reader's perspective.
Agreed.
Loki, I enjoyed Loki, but it felt like they kind of tried to make it too complex in a lot of ways because there's a lot of interweaving. We're going back and forth.
Sure.
There's all this kind of stuff, and it kind of lost me in that a little bit. Because for example, the Brad character, I was like, who's Brad? Why do I
Honestly,
care?
same with that. I didn't hate it, but I was just like, I don't really.
Yeah, like why is he important all of a sudden?
Yeah.
And if he is important, why wasn't he set up back in season 1?
Yeah, that's
kinda,
fair.
That's kind of how I look at that.
Yeah, that's fair.
But as far as the way that last episode ended, I was like, oh,
That's wild.
I was like,
Well,
Bruh.
what I have to say about that is, I told
Uh-oh.
Austin and Frank this before the show, and I was afraid this was going to happen, and I did still enjoy it.
But
Shane oversold it.
oh,
He was telling me it was the craziest thing he's ever watched while we're at dinner, and I'm
You're
like,
saying that Shane is a
and
prisoner
I
of the
watched
moment?
it, and then when it ended, I was like, wait, that's what it was. Shane just way overpitched it, and I told you that night. I was like, I think you might have overpitched
well,
it.
I was 3 Trulies in, and then
You were singing a lot of.
You were
singing.
drinking last week?
yeah,
3 Trulies. We're shooting tequila.
Yeah, well, that too.
geez.
We're like
Tequila's
getting-
gone, by the way.
We're like getting ready with Nate before the show, and Shane walks up to the table with 3 Trulies.
He hasn't finished them all
That was
yet.
good,
You haven't
though.
finished them
Yeah.
all.
But he
Yeah,
will.
I'm still working.
It was
all open.
it was definitely a good like page turner
Yeah.
type of
I agree.
ending, and I was like, whoa, I didn't
but it
expect
was-
that.
I mean, that was something you didn't
I
expect.
enjoy-
though.
It was a
I
cliffhanger. It was,
enjoyed
it was a cliffhanger. It was a cliffhanger.
It was a cliffhanger in all forms.
Yeah.
You know, it was good.
It was unexpected, which
Yeah.
is what I was trying to get at.
I
I'm
would've
like, the
loved-
show. I was excited about the show to begin with, about the episode to begin with, and then the cliffhanger itself.
If
I
that
thought was
if that
really,
was
really
the finale, Paul would hate that season so much. If it left with a
tough. Oh
cliffhanger,
my gosh!
if that ended on black,
you guys would like that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he would have been more upset than Spider-Verse.
Yes.
Bruh, Paul would.
I would have
be-
been upset.
Paul would have been
I
like,
would've been
"This
upset
sucks.
too.
I hate
Yeah, it'd
this."
have been a little much.
What are we doing?
It'd have been a little much.
It would have been it because it would have been like, okay, you set me up all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it up.
There's a lot of jokes.
But people like that. People like that type of thing. What?
I dug it.
About you? Like, in the chat?
No,
Before
no,
we get out of
no.
here, Marcus, do you got anything for the people?
I
No.
do.
What do you, no.
Oh, about what?
Please,
Do to do. Oh,
please go ahead.
so this Saturday is the Library Festival.
There you go.
15th annual Vegas Valley
15th
Comedy
annual,
Festival.
the longest running
Flamingo
festival.
Library. I've got you and Shane on a mission. If Shane will choose to accept, I've got you guys a mission that we'll talk about
Okay.
regarding the guest.
Are you coming?
I work.
Oh, okay.
What day is
I
it?
work this Saturday. I work at 11 o'clock. It starts at 9:30. By the time I get out, it's not going to matter.
That's true. And it seems like they're starting it a little earlier too, because it's isn't it like usually a 10 or 11?
Yeah, it's 9:30 to 5 or something there. 9:30 to 4:30.
Right.
Shimson's Comics will be over there. A lot of the guys, Gorilla Todd, all those guys, they'll all be there.
Right. Yeah, alternate reality will be there. Cosmic is usually there.
Our boy Steven Lolito will be there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He'll be there.
Box Boy Whiskers, shout out.
Usually Maximum Northwest shows up as well. So yeah, check it out. Flamingo Library off of Flamingo and Maryland Parkway on
Yes, sir.
Saturday.
I'm glad he brought that up because I think we might have forgot.
Austin, what do you got there?
Yeah, we were just talking about all the different shows coming up. I'm excited for Invincible coming out tonight. Gen V and Loki. It's just all coming out all at
It's a
once.
lot.
It's a lot of
It's like a
content.
buffet.
And the what do you say? The Mevels is coming out
The
next.
Mevels will be
Mevels.
next week. I think it's going to be fun because we have zero
Yeah.
expectation
Yeah.
for
It may be good.
Yeah. Aim for the middle and you hit it every time.
Quan's like, no. I could see him shaking his head.
He's not going.
Quan's like,
He's not
unless
going?
Anthony Davis averages
He said he's
35
got to
and 20,
record
I'm not
something. I don't even think
interested.
he's got to record. He just doesn't want to watch it.
no.
Maybe,
It'll be on
we
Disney.
should, maybe we should. Like,
Shane's leaving. Sonny's
pregame
leaving
it.
the state. What?
Maybe we should pregame it a little bit. You know.
Oh, then it'll be
we
the
might
greatest
have to.
movie ever.
Yeah, I think, Mark, that's a great idea. I think we might have
Shane, what do you got?
thank you for Nate for coming on.
Yeah.
Number
Yes.
one. Number two, thank him for going to see Rollins' band tonight. I love Henry Rollins. I love Black Flag. Listen to as much of that as you possibly
I love
can.
you.
It truly is. Henry Rollins truly is one of the greatest people in rock, and I dig all that. Tighten up.
There's a big possibility to say something else.
Tighten up, baby.
Do we score?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're up
Oh,
by
okay,
3
good.
at the half.
Tighten up.
Okay. All right. Okay. And
I want to thank you, Gracie, for schmurring.
Paul, how can Henry Rollins fans find us on the interwebs?
Henry Rollins fans, and all fans for that matter, can find us at Into the West Comics on Instagram, Into_Comics on Twitter, Into the West Comics on TikTok and YouTube. And also, you can find our friend Nate Rock Quarry on Twitter with that name, Nate Rock Quarry, or on Instagram with Zombie Cage Fighter. Go give him love. We'll definitely have him on again. That was really cool having him on the show. He could have easily been like, actually, I got a show to go to. I can't come on. He still came on. That was very cool.
Yeah.
And also, we posted a bunch of clips from last week's Halloween episode.
That was
They did
hilarious.
really well. A couple of the clips had over like 4,000 views.
Wow.
We're gonna
The one with Paul in it had over 4,000 views.
literally everybody is in that clip. So
I got it right.
Oh, man.
Holy flip.
yeah,
Holy
that's a
flip.
But
Paul.
that's
And
that was really
Paul-
cool to have those. Notice how I didn't even say anything about myself. I didn't even say which clip it was.
Paul clip got 3 billion
Shane
views.
sounds like he's jealous.
And now he's
Shane sounds like he's jealous.
no. I'm just breaking
Weird.
tunes here.
Weird. Well, your clip got
Yeah, it
like
was
50 views,
awesome.
so-
Yours
No, I'm
was
just
awesome.
kidding.
Oh,
Clip.
Thanks.
But no, it was really cool to see that kind of engagement, and we're going to try to keep those posts up like that, and we'll have stuff that we talked about with Nate coming out over the next couple weeks. weeks, and we will have 2 pre-recorded segments coming out over the next week as well. So comic book segment and a Loki talk.
Yay.
So keep your eyes out for those.
Yeah.
And again, we just want to say thank you again to Nate for hanging out with tonight. It was really cool. We appreciate him. And we will definitely have him back when he's got a little bit more time. We can do the car interview. It'll look kind of cool.
Yeah.
I wanted to shout out
can
the
always
buddy
do that.
Tavon. He'll be watching the movie with us last night. Which way am I going?
I mean,
I wanted to show the logo here.
last night?
Last night this happened?
No, next week.
Last night.
Next
yeah.
week when we go
don't
see the
remember. We don't
Mevels.
remember.
The company is called
First.
Cerberus. I was trying to show the logo. I wasn't touching myself. Cerberus and Company. Tavon and his buddy, they launched a clothing company. I'm going to post some
Juan did not
pics
like that.
and I'll tag him in that. He loved it. He loves it when I'm touching my pecs.
Oh, you liked it when I did it.
But as for tonight, it's taco time in America. Why do the shows do better when we're drinking? That's all I'm going to say. Guys, have a great evening. Again, thank you to Nate for hanging out with us
Yeah,
tonight.
that was super cool.
And we'll talk to you soon. Be on the lookout for more videos, like Paul said, over the weekend. We'll have
Juan's
some
about
stuff
to say
posted.
Lee Austin's drunk.
Oh.
Wow.
No.
They just had a water.
I've had a water.
Shane forced a Truly down his gullet.
Dawson is drunk.
Lee, Shane's buzzed.
And I want to say real fast,
Of course.
thank you to Austin's girlfriend for watching
There it
tonight.
is.
She was amazing for my boy Austin.
I hate all of you.
He did this to me when Liz
I
and
know.
I started
Austin,
dating.
what's her name? What's her name? Next show?
Kayla?
Oh, Kayla. Yes, that's right.
I could see it in Austin's face. He's so afraid about what you might say.
I know. Well, I went to, yeah, we should just end it. We should just be done.
I say let's talk about it more.
All right.
There it is. That's what he did to me. Yeah.
Okay.
Guys, have a great evening. We'll talk to you soon. Next week, 7 p.m. Special start time, 7 p.m. Reacting to the Loki finale.
Tighten up, baby.
Tighten up.
Go Rangers. That was fun to watch.
Yeah.
Austin
World
and
Series?
Kayla are together forever. Oh, Kayla.
Marcus's face.
It's still not over yet. We haven't gone. It's still not over. You can
Kayla's amazing. Oh, Kayla.
Can you tell Shane's in a band?
Marcus is like, get this over with.
And that's funny, Marcus.